Hi everyone, welcome back to Hope and Coffee, where Mugsley and I are bringing to you an episode which can be controversial sometimes, and this is about conversation. And I am wanting to know what you guys think. Now, when I bring up this topic, this does not mean that a wedding is in the future. I simply have seen articles regarding weddings and weddings specifically where children are not invited. Okay, so I have set the stage because I am not planning a wedding. I have simply seen a large number of articles regarding the debate on child-free weddings. And I'm curious, what do you guys think? Is there a time and a place for children to be at a wedding? Should children always be at weddings? Should we find a way to leave children at home? I would love to know your thoughts, and I will give you a few of mine, because I think that we could probably go either way on this. And personally, I don't have kids. So for me, leaving my kids at home is pretty much leaving my puppies at home. I have 2 dogs. I have Leo and Argos, and they are my kids, as one is 12, he'll be 12 in September, one just turned 7. And they are pretty much the only children that I will ever have. However, I still have to find keep for them if I'm going to be gone somewhere overnight. And they keep themselves pretty well when I'm gone to work and those sorts of things. I never have to put them through college, and I never really have to buy them clothes unless I want to. So, however, unlike human children, that is a different story. I do know that the internet has had a lot to say about this. And so I was able to find an article, especially on quite a few websites, where people actually have talked about this back and forth, especially a huge debate on Twitter and things of that nature. And we'll just start with one particular posting that said that some people are perfectly entitled, bride and groom, are perfectly entitled to request no children at their wedding. And I'm curious, do you feel that that's okay for a bride and groom to request? Because in my mind, I think it is. I think a bride and groom can request that no children under the age of a certain number perhaps not come, because the bride and groom may not be able to accommodate younger children should alcohol be involved at their wedding or whatnot. They may not be able to provide a child care facility or child oversight in order for the parents to also partake and enjoy. Some people may argue, well, it's the parents' responsibility. And yes, you're right. It is the parents' responsibility to watch their kids. But in a wedding, I can also see where the parents may want to enjoy themselves and do as you would at a celebration. So I would love to know in the comments down below, in whatever manner you'd like to share, what you think on that particular subject. So a lot of people did agree with this particular posting that that having that sufficient time, since weddings tend to be planned quite significantly in advance, quite well in the future, especially since there's usually RSVPs that go out ahead of time prior to the wedding invitation actually going out, or save the dates or what have you, that usually family and friends would be able to find a sitter or family member to watch the children, to watch the underage family members, so to speak. However, some people also argue that they make it a point that weddings are already expensive as it is, and by not having the children, you're also having a cost-saving element there. The parents may actually spend less on childcare than what the nurse or what the bride or groom may have to spend on an additional head count and seats and what have you. I don't know. These are the arguments, so please don't shoot the messenger. I am simply putting out there the information that I see in front of me on the screen. Simply bringing up the points that have been brought up and posed on the internet. So, however, some people argue that on the other side, that children should be invited because they could be family members and could feel excluded, could feel hurt, and could feel as though they are not as valuable members of the family, which is very which is very important to think about, especially if the child is 17 and you're saying no one under 18. This may be a consideration for the bride and groom to consider, and that may be an individual basis to think about. Also, there are also considerations for having, like, if you say, okay, well, I'm going to have a flower girls and flower boys, but I'm not having any other kids, well, you're already then allowing kids, so you're picking and choosing then for your, like, those, I guess, aspects of it. So then at that point you are letting kids, but only certain kids. And I guess that's where some people had a disagreement. So one person, without elaborating, just said the best weddings they've been to had kids in them or at them, without elaborating what that meant. One particular one just said they went to a wedding that they decided not to have children, that didn't have children, and they wished they had children later in the future, like brought their children. And this comes from a lady who was apparently a bride. So apparently they said they did not allow children at their nuptials, and later down the road regretted their decision. So that's something that someone actually argued as well. So what do you guys think with regards to this? Because I'm actually quite curious. I don't think I'm going to be packing up my puppies and bringing them as my, like, +1 or anything, whether kids are invited or not. I certainly do not think Argos or Leo will be coming to snack on sausages under the table. However, with regards to brides and grooms setting a sort of standard or a blanket statement such as no children under a certain age, what do you guys think? I'm very curious. And do you think it should spur arguments? Also, do you think other people should actually just ignore those requests? Because actually a couple people said that when they see these things on wedding invitations, they tend to ignore them. And that, in more ways than not, was more entitled to me than the bride and groom making the request, because that means you blatantly saw it without then trying to speak to the bride and groom or trying to speak to the coordinators to find out more information about, like, maybe the facility is just not good to have kids. Some facilities are just not appropriate, really, for kids or children underage to maybe run around in. I know there was one location that I had gone to a wedding in that probably would not have been a very good location for a lot of kids to just run around. It was a very old location with a lot of antiques, and it would not have been very good to just have kids kind of running and playing in. So, again, simply my experience, but thoughts. I'd love thoughts. Anyway, what do you guys think about the child-free wedding debate? And I'd love to know your comments down below. Please like and subscribe if you've made it this far, and I will see you guys on the next page. Have a great one. Bye.